Namaste, it's Gayatri Dasi for an ASMY vegan cooking class today. We're having sticky date pudding. So I'm making a huge cake today, a double mix, because we're having a women's circle tonight at the mantra room, so lots of mouths to feed. So we're starting off with some butter, vegan butter I've got here, but if you're not a vegan, just some soft butter, let it soften out of the fridge. And we've got 400 grams, and also we've got 2 cups of soft brown sugar. So what we're going to do is just mix that just by hand until it mixes through really well. It doesn't take that long. And if you leave the butter out of the fridge for a bit longer, it'll be easier to mix. So I'd recommend you take the butter out before you start getting all your other ingredients organized. Doesn't have to be mixed that well, as long as it's nearly all the way through, because we're going to add a whole heap more ingredients to this. So I think that looks good. That is the butter and sugar mix to start with. Now on the stove here, I've got my date paste mix. We had to put a lid on because it was splattering everywhere, so dates can be a bit dangerous because they're so thick. So maybe have a lid near. So in here, we've just been breaking down the dates. We chopped up 5 cups of dates because we're doing that double mix. And we've got also 800 mils of plant milk. You could use coconut cream, coconut milk. I've used soy milk. You could use almond milk. You could use thick cream if you're not a vegan. And we also have some vanilla in there. So a couple of caps of vanilla. And it's made just a nice paste. Make sure you chop the dates up fairly small so that it becomes like that. So it sort of looks a bit like peanut butter. There may be some chunky dates in there. I mean, I like that. I don't cook it all the way down until there's no dates because I like a few dates here and there. So once that is cooked down, you can see it's pretty pasty. Then we're going to add this to the butter mix. It's okay if it's hot, you don't need to cool it first. It's all going to melt together in the oven anyway. It's smelling good here, all those beautiful dates and brown sugar, and it's all wafting. Okay, so we give this a really good mix into our butter sugar mixture. Okay. And now we're going to add our flour. We've got 6 cups of self-raising flour. You don't need to sift it. We have 4 teaspoons of bicarb, or baking powder they call it. No, they don't call it that. They call it, Baking soda. Yes, sorry, that's the American way. We call it bicarb usually over here. And then we're going to add our walnuts. We've got 3 cups of chopped walnuts. And we just incorporate that flour into the mix really well. Now it doesn't really matter. This doesn't become a rubbery cake if you over mix it. It's so moist. So just go for it here. So it's an unusual mix. It's more like a pudding mix rather than a cake. So you'll feel the difference. It doesn't feel like a cake. It's sort of lighter and more like a pudding feel to it. Wow, this is really good for your biceps, making big cakes. Sometimes I cook for retreats, or I have done many times in the past, and you're talking like bowls this big for 300 people. Huge effort. So you need some pretty strong biceps. Lucky I practice a lot of yoga. So I've got the strength in my arm to make big cakes. All right. This is wearing me out. All right, that'll do. So we've got a really nice mix there now. You can see that's well incorporated. It looks delicious. You could dive into that. And we're going to pop it into a nice big cake tin. Oops, I'll get rid of that. Actually, that can go back in. I've just oiled a little bit. You don't really need to put the baking paper in this one, I've found, because you're going to put a syrup over it while the cake's still in the pan. So it's going to make the baking paper a bit soggy, so I wouldn't use the baking paper for this recipe. Now, I made this once before and I didn't smooth the top down, and although it tasted just as good, it didn't look so good. So make sure you really smooth the top down, because it was really rugged looking, bubbly on the top. So it didn't have, it didn't really matter. By the time you put the syrup on and the coconut cream or coconut yogurt, whatever you're using, nobody noticed, but I did. So, and if you're a bit fussy, you like you'd like your cake to look good. Although I used to wonder about it, because when I had my boys, they were teenagers or even younger, honestly, I don't think they even looked at what they were eating. It would just go in and down. I'd spend all day making sushi and it was gone it was almost like they just sucked it in one go. I go, why did I take so much time making it look so nice? But some people do appreciate good looking food. Maybe not teenage boys. Okay, so just smooth that down a bit better. It doesn't rise up like an ordinary cake, so therefore the lumps don't tend to come out as easy. All right, this is ready for the oven. So we're going to put it in a, what is it? I make so many cakes, I've got to have the notes with me. 30 or 40 minutes in a moderate oven until the sharp knife comes out clean. So we'll pop this in the oven, and then we're going to come back. While we've got it in the oven, we're going to make the sauce to go on top. We have our date pudding out of the oven, and we have made our sauce. So in this saucepan, I have put 400 grams of butter, vegan or otherwise, 3 cups of soft brown sugar, and 200 mils of coconut cream. Just the Aldi or Coles one is fine, and 2 teaspoons or 4 teaspoons of vanilla, because we doubled it. So what I'm going to do is just poke the cake all over. You can do it with a toothpick if you like. We don't have any toothpicks here, so I'm just going to poke it all over with a sharp pointed knife, just so the sauce goes down into the cake. It's a very big cake, this one. I suppose it's not if you're a big family, or if you're a cake lover. You could even cut this up and have a piece each day. Pop it in the freezer. It freezes well. Okay, that should do it. And then we're going to pour most of this sauce on. We're going to pour about maybe 2/3 of it on the cake and leave 1/3 off just to pour on at the end when we're serving. Okay, there we go. We'll just spread that out a bit. And look at that. We have got sticky date pudding. So this is really nice, topped with coconut yogurt or ice cream or coconut cream, or even whipped coconut cream if you put a can of coconut cream in the refrigerator and wait for it to completely set. You can scoop off the thick creamy part of the coconut milk and you're left with the watery part on the bottom, and you just you don't use the watery part, just the top thick part, and you beat it up with some cake beaters until it's whipped like cream. You can add a bit of maple or some vanilla if you like, and you can top it with some whipped coconut cream as well, or thick cream. So many toppings depending whether you are a vegan or a vegetarian. So I hope you enjoy this cake and this sticky date pudding, and I'll see you again next time around. Namaste.